Hi, I'm Sarah. This is Turn Back Time, day 59, the penultimate day of this challenge. I dropped a little weight overnight, a tiny, tiny bit, 0.1 of a pound. Not enough, I don't think, but hey, who cares? Everything's good. I'm 173.5 pounds at this point, and as this day-by-day podcast comes to an end, and it transitions to a week-by-week one, I wanted to leave you with a really strong image of how to take this method of eating forward. You might decide, like me, to just go on in exactly the same way. Keep eating, drinking and exercising the same way. Keep dropping the pounds and get down to that only lean body mass. Or you might think that you look so much better now and that you've reached your personal goal and be thinking, I haven't been out for dinner for 2 months and I want to go to a party and drink. That's what I want. Just live, basically. So I wanted to explain something that I read, which I thought was a really easy way of seeing it. That Dr. Theodore Berudi, who I mentioned before, and he wrote the book Alkalize or Die, explains that inside each of us, there's essentially an alkaline reservoir. And it's a store of alkalinity, mainly in the form of sodium bicarbonate, throughout the body, which can be called upon every time we imbibe acid-forming foods or drinks. The pancreas is our alkaline powerhouse. It makes the alkaline digestive enzymes and the sodium bicarbonate. So a healthy pancreas is absolutely essential. When we're eating alkaline foods like green vegetables, fruit, nuts and herbs and spices, we're filling up that reservoir. Basically, we're putting alkalinity in the bank. And then when we imbibe acid-forming substances like alcohol and meat, all animal and fish products are acidic, but full of things that the body needs, or bread or pasta, we're making a withdrawal from that alkaline reserve. The reserve is not huge, but it is a buffer, along with the bicarbonates. Calcium can also be released into the bloodstream if the body is too acidic. One NIH study showed that eating poorly for 20 years, and I think I was definitely in that category, could see almost half the skeletal mass of calcium excreted from the body. This also needs replenishing fast if we're to avoid conditions like osteoporosis. Replenishing our potassium levels with fruit and vegetables also allows us to keep our muscle mass as we go into old age. The thinking is, if we can keep our food and drink intake to 80% alkaline and 20% acidic, that reservoir will never run dry. Even Hippocrates advocated this eating ratio to heal every condition. If you generally eat well, the alkaline antidote will always be there to call on. So you can go out and eat acidic foods and drink alcohol occasionally and not cause any major issues on the inside. The biggest problem has always been the amount of acidic substances that we've been imbibing. There's a list of alkaline and acid-forming foods on the turnbacktime2024.com website, so you can consult that if you need to. It's clear, however, if you now go back to a processed food diet, eating bread and pasta and cereals, and revert to using those seed oils, all the health benefits that you've been experiencing up to this point will reverse as that reservoir runs dry, and you'll likely put all the fat back on that you've lost and maybe more. If you're thinking, well, never mind, I want to be able to not think about my food all the time, it's worth knowing that fat is not our biggest problem. Our blood only works in a very narrow pH parameter, which is 7.35 to 7.45. The body strives extremely hard to try to keep this balance or it gets ill. The lymphatic system responsible for hydration, immunity, waste removal and fat absorption also needs strict alkalinity. There are more lymph vessels than there are blood vessels in the body. Did you know that? And when the lymph dries up, in the face of acid-forming foods and emotions, you get swelling under the skin and joint pain and infection. You also feel hot. There's a lot of menopausal symptoms there. So is it menopause or is it acidic food and or emotional stress? Be aware that if you're having lymphatic drainage massage, but still eating acidic foods, then you're not achieving anything at all. You just got yourself stuck in an endless cycle. I haven't mentioned this before, but the points on the pH scale are like the magnitude of an earthquake. They increase exponentially. So 5 on the pH scale is 10 times more acidic than 6. Each number is a 10-fold change. Where you live and how hot or cold it is also a factor. The hotter the climate, the more acid your body makes, because the body really works so much more efficiently in a cooler environment. So if you live in a desert or tropical heat, you may need to eat even more alkaline foods to keep that reservoir balanced. If you live in a colder climate, you may have a little bit more leeway. But just keep that picture of that alkaline reservoir in your head and strive to put as much into it as you possibly can so that you can have that occasional jump off the wagon. If we'd only known all this when we were being taught about pH scales at school, what a huge difference it would have made. If we'd known everything we know now as a result of these podcasts, we wouldn't probably have even got ourselves into this mess in the first place. But we can actually picture all the consequences now, which in me has certainly had the effect of making all my new aversions permanent. Hopefully in you too. So the end of the challenge is tomorrow. Looking forward to seeing where I end up. Come back here tomorrow to find out, and I'll tell you. See you.